Hey guys, Andrew Sluder, pastor of Bible Baptist Church here in Asheville, North Carolina, coming to you with a quick video on people inhabiting other planets in eternity. Now, this is a subject that has gotten certain Bible believers and a lot of quote-unquote criticism on the internet from a lot of trolls and haters who have criticized our position that in eternity, people will inhabit other planets. Now, here's the thing about it. This is not some far-fetched idea. And in fact, I'm going to show you some very clear scriptures that will show that we, not us as far as the bride of Christ, but other people throughout eternity will have to inhabit other planets. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse number 8 says, "When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel." So here we see that God is separating and dividing out an inheritance to the sons of Adam. And he set the bounds of their habitation, and the Bible says he did that according to the number of the children of Israel, which is 12. Now, if you know the number 12, that deals with the 12 constellations. That has a heavenly meaning. 12 is a heavenly number. Now, if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse number 19, cross-reference that over, the Bible says, "Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven." So the Bible clearly says here that the heavens, the stars and all the heavenly hosts and some, that is divided as an inheritance, that's divided to all the nations under heaven. So why would God have to divide certain parts of the galaxy to the different nations under heaven? And why does he set the boundary and says there's 12 different boundaries of nations in Deuteronomy 32:8? So now notice this. So God has given the outer parts of space, basically the planets and the stars and the other galaxies and solar system, he's given them as an inheritance. You say, well, how in the world are there going to be other people having children through eternity? Well, you've got to understand they'll be having children during the millennial kingdom. The Bible talks about a child dying in the millennial kingdom at 100 years old. We also find out that people will make it through the millennial kingdom. They'll be able to have children after that into eternity. And the Bible says this very clearly in Isaiah chapter 9 and verse number 6. This is the verse that convinced me of this truth. Isaiah chapter 9 in verse number 6. This is read a lot of times during Christmas, but it says this: "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace." Verse number 7. "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end." Now my question for you is, how in the world does a government increase without people also being born? How does the government expand without there being people being born? Listen, folks, the Jews are promised perpetual generations. And eventually, throughout eternity, because eternity is a long time, there is going to be a limit to how many people can dwell on this earth. And so that's when the nations will receive their inheritance in the galaxies and the planets and the solar systems in outer space. At the increase of his government, there shall be no end. God's original plan was to multiply, replenish, and fill the earth. That was his plan in Genesis. That was his plan in Genesis 1. That's his plan in Genesis 9 after the flood. And I don't believe God's plan ever changed. So folks, there you have it very clearly, that we find that there will be people born. Psalms 22 even says that. There will be people that are born, perpetual generations in eternity. Hope this cleared up. Hope it gave you some good verses to look at and chew on. Folks, the idea of having children in eternity, not us, we're not having children in eternity, but those millennial saints, those who inherit the earth, all those people, they'll have children and they got to go somewhere in eternity. All right, hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. God bless you is my prayer.